developer evangelist at GitLab, which means I spend time in our community, our open source community. GitLab's an open source project, but also in other open source communities like the CNCF and Cloud Native, and spend time with developers, talk about the problem of like actually shipping code to production, and that's what I really enjoy doing. And then GitLab, of course, is the DevOps platform where we started as source code management and Git, but now have an entire DevOps platform to get code all the way from planning and building the code to into production and monitoring your production systems.
Very cool. And you're also on the board for the Cloud Native Foundation?
I am. So I represent GitLab on the Cloud Native Foundation's governing board. So there's two boards for the foundation. There's the Technical Oversight Committee and the governing board. And the governing board kind of is responsible for the marketing and general operations of the foundation.
Anything sort of cool there that people might be interested in that goes on?
Well, I think it's cool because you get a lot of these folks together from industry that you wouldn't necessarily, right? They're competitors in industry, but they come together and talk and, have this focus on, moving Cloud Native forward and bringing more people into the community and making sure we have an inclusive and open community. So it's actually really a privilege to be on the board.
So there is common ground sometimes with competition.
Exactly. That's the time that we, those meetings are where we find the common ground for sure.
And then one other thing I saw, like I checked out your cool Twitter. We'll make sure everybody gets that. It's 10 years of GitLab?
That's correct. Yes. So the first commit to GitLab was on October 8th, 2011. So we're celebrating all through October. We got to make a big deal out of it. And yeah, so we had the first commit. I think the commit message was probably first commit or something, but it happened in 2011. So we're really excited.
So anybody with a trivia contest, write that down. It's a great trivia question. And if people go by the booth today for GitLab and mention that or do something, will they get like a secret prize?
There actually is. There's secret birthday swag. So if you mention the birthday, you'll get to get some of that special swag for the 10-year anniversary.
Very cool. And for our DZone audience of developer software professionals, what's some of the latest things going on with GitLab that they could take advantage of? And I do want to note the big news yesterday was that GitLab's Kubernetes operator now has support for the Red Hat OpenShift, which is available.
Yeah, no, we're really excited to be talking about that today. We've been all in on Kubernetes for a long time, and we see that as a big way to build resiliency. Resiliency is the theme of our conference here this week, and so we're really excited to release the operator. It kind of brings a lot of what we know about running GitLab at scale and codifies that in a way that everyone can take advantage. And so you can run that on any Kubernetes. Bring your own Kubernetes to it, or you can run it in OpenShift, which is where a lot of large enterprises want to run their business critical software. And so we're really excited that GitLab can be orchestrated into it with the operator.
And that's probably good timing with resiliency. We just had an episode of that, and it was timely because of the Facebook outage. So everybody talks about resiliency and security, things like that, after something happens.
Yeah, it's always got to close the barn door, or I guess in their case, open the doors so that they couldn't get open, right? So yeah, I think resiliency is something that is not a one-time thing. Right. It's something you have to always be striving for to realize. And I think that's the great promise of Kubernetes. And I think as we mature as an industry around it, the concept of this operators is one great way to kind of bring resiliency to everyone.
Great. And then as sort of from your purview of both GitLab's and as your role on the board for Cloud Native, a lot of people talk about trends currently going on with Kubernetes or with, Cloud Native. But from your vantage points, what are the trends you're seeing in 2021, especially as we're just now into Q4?
Yeah, sure. So, resiliency, we just talked about, that's always been, but this concept of security and resiliency being together, right? So at the keynotes this morning, we heard Priyanka talk about that. We heard the launching of the Open Source Security Foundation, this focus on supply chain security and, what a comprehensive security program looks like and how that really, that is value to customers, right? Oftentimes we kind of think of it as a secondary thing. Oh yeah, we need to make sure it's secure. Oh, we should run some security scans. But the reality is, and if our customers can't trust what we're delivering to them and can't trust it's secure, then whatever new feature we ship is not worth as much to them. So I think that's a huge focus, and will continue to be a focus in the next year.
And it was kind of fascinating to me there is everyone says deploy faster, but then it's like, where's security? It's like at the bottom of the checklist.
Yeah, it's at the bottom of the checklist. Like you have to integrate it together, right?
Right.
That's why we see this shift towards a DevOps platform where you don't have a separate tool for each group. You have to have one tool where everyone's coming together and security can be part of the process, not a thing at the bottom of the checklist.
It's almost the abstract layers that make simplify everything, so it's not as disjointed.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Bring people together and let them collaborate rather than it being kind of like an adversarial relationship, right? It's the same concept of where we came up with the word DevOps, right? We didn't
Right.
want to have this adversarial relationship between developers and operators. The same needs to be true for security too. It needs to be integrated into the process.
Yeah, and if your tech stack looks like Frankenstein for all the different teams, yeah,
Then
results aren't going to be pretty.
yeah, I mean, sometimes in business you talk about you ship your org chart.
Right.
I mean, you can ship your tool set if you've got this Frankenstein's monster of a tool set. Yeah.
Nice. And then on that theme of trends, if you had to sort of look ahead for everybody's going to be asking, so for 2022, for next year,
Mhm.
just a few quick weeks away.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna? Well, if you had to put your crystal ball on and magic hat and say these are like one or two like big trends that maybe nobody's thinking about that's really going to take shape next year.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. We've been talking about AI and ML for years. I'm interested to see where that's going to go. I think we've got a lot of folks talking about that here at the conference, how they can leverage machine learning to solve some of these problems, like these complex problems of how do we build resiliency in. So I wonder if we'll see a kind of a resurgence of that, and how does things like chaos engineering, those kind of things relate to that. I'm interested to see where that's going to go.
Very cool. And then for a lot of the companies that are looking, we're seeing more and more companies move to the cloud. But then, for them, there's kind of the unknown unknowns.
Hmm.
And so, what do you see as kind of maybe like one or two of the biggest challenges and one or two of the biggest opportunities for companies that are like, yes, we know we need to do this, but we're not sure how to get started and just kind of need a few things basically to get our bearings right.
Yeah, I think it's tough. I think companies have this desire to want to, move to the cloud because they see these advantages that they could have of having elastic compute and having distributed computing, having access to edge computing, and those are really critical capabilities. But we're seeing more and more, folks saying, "But I can't just do that for the sake of doing it, right? I can't use technology for the sake of technology. I have to have a business problem that I'm solving with this." And so I think we'll continue to see folks, especially in large enterprises, having these kind of hybrid approaches to what's going to be on cloud and on-prem, right? We've seen the cloud vendors bringing a lot of their cloud technology and allowing people to run it in their premises, right? We see it with Anthos from Google and EKS everywhere from Amazon. So I think that kind of mixed environment, and not just kind of oh, we're going to move to the cloud. Okay, well, spin up all these EC2 machines and we'll put everything on EC2 machines, and now we're cloud native, right? We'll see people being a little bit smarter about how they apply that technology, I think.
Okay, very cool. And then for a lot of times our audiences for people coming into the industry. So someone in middle school or high school is like,
Mhm.
hey, this seems really exciting, Kubernetes, cloud native, working in cloud. But if I want to go into a career role in that, what sort of, we've got like developer advocates,
Mhm.
evangelists, what sort of advice or some career tips or somebody sitting at home right now, they're, yes, Brennan, I want to get in this industry one day. What should I start doing
Yeah.
now?
Well, I would say it can be kind of intimidating to say, "Oh, I want to go get into this industry. I want to get into cloud native. I want to contribute." But we talked just this morning in the keynote about how there's over 130,000 contributors to cloud native projects in the CNCF, over 186 different countries. So everyone can contribute to it. And so the best way to do it is to start, right? Like get involved, find the project that you're really interested in. Um, a newcomer to a project can be one of the most valuable contributors because they can understand, wait, what do we not communicate well? That everyone that's been using this project for a while, they all understand, but a newcomer doesn't. Like sometimes that can feel like imposter syndrome, but in reality, you're learning something really valuable. Hey, as a newcomer, I didn't understand how these two things connected. I should write a blog post about how, now that I do understand it, right? I'm going to write a blog post about it, or I'm going to, help improve the documentation. There's lots of ways to contribute, even if you're just getting started. And it's an extremely welcoming and opening community, I have to say. And I think that we are very intentional about building it that way.
And some of the tools they can use, like GitLab, and I know there's like the Kubernetes for Goat. Just the tools that are available to people now is amazing before they even get into the work.
Yeah, there's a lot of fantastic tools out there. You can go and play with a Kubernetes cluster tomorrow if you wanted to, and with a lot of those tools.
Nice. And last question, tell people a little bit about your Twitter. It's a really exciting, great one that I hope everybody goes and follows. Tell people a little bit about that and anything else upcoming with you or GitLab.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm at O'Leary Crew on Twitter, and I post about tech, but I also post a lot of just kind of general thoughts, and funny memes I find, and I find it as a great space to connect with people. Again, another great space to connect with people and just kind of bring your full authentic self to. So if you want to see the inner workings of my brain, I don't know who would want to, but some people do.
There's
so
thousands
check
of
it out. Yeah, it's evidently thousands of people.
Nice.
But yeah.
Anything else upcoming to note for you or GitLabs that we should tell people about?
No, I think that's it. Yeah. Again, go to about.gitlab.com to learn more about GitLab. You can do /10 to learn about the 10-year anniversary. We've got some great meetups happening virtually all over the world to celebrate that 10-year anniversary.
All right, so we're here with Brendan O'Leary. You can stop by the GitLab booth if you're at KubeCon today. Maybe there's a secret code birthday thing.
Just do like a wink and a 10-year.
Get that going. We'll have a link to the blog post so you can go learn about GitLab's Kubernetes operator support for Red Hat OpenShift that was just made available. So Brendan, thanks for your time. Congratulations on 10 years. And hopefully we'll get a lot of people following you on Twitter.
Great. Thank you very much.